Hey guys, welcome back to Finding Health. My name is Kara, and today's video is going to be talking about some tips and tricks that I've developed having gone through gastric bypass surgery to help me survive the festivities around the holiday season. If you're like me, you've already started with the office parties and there's family events coming up, plus the big day itself. And side note, I'm going to be talking specifically about Christmas simply because that's the holiday that I celebrate with my family, but of course this applies to any holiday that you're celebrating, so it's not just specific to Christmas. Further, although I have undergone gastric bypass surgery, these tips aren't necessarily designed simply for bariatric patients. It can be applied to anybody who's looking to prioritize their health during the holiday season. So let's just get into it. I have to be fully honest, this is like the fifth time I've sat down to try to film this, and I just keep getting in my own head, and I keep trying to be somebody else, and I don't know why. I'm trying to bring in all sorts of facts and statistics, and it's just I'm getting in my own way. So let's just talk like we're friends. Let's just take a very laid back approach to this. A lot of these tips that I have to share, they're not revolutionary. I don't have a magic wand to take away all the temptation and make it all very easy. I don't. But I do have some tips and strategies that I think can be very helpful, even though they are very basic. So the first tip that I just want to share is to just be very mindful of what you're drinking. Of course, you have to be mindful about what you're eating as well, but the drinks are the sneaky ones. Those can pack a punch that we just don't even pay attention to. For example, eggnog. That is a very traditional holiday drink, but a single cup of it packs in about 300 to 400 calories, there's about 10 to 11 grams of fat, and there's usually about 20 grams of sugar in just one cup. And it's very easy to blow way past that and not have any awareness of it. So switching that out for something like soy eggnog can make a big impact in terms of its nutritional impact on you. For my own sake, eggnog isn't much of a temptation. It's just not something that I enjoy anymore. I did as a kid, went hard on the eggnog as a kid, but for whatever reason, as I grew up, decided I no longer like it, so it's not a temptation. But cranberry juice is for me. And that's not just specific to Christmas. I always have a bottle of cranberry juice in my fridge. But more specifically, it's diet cranberry juice. So if you're drinking regular unsweetened cranberry juice, it's going to have about 115 calories in there and upwards of 30 grams of sugar, again for just one cup. Whereas if you switch that out for diet cranberry, you're looking at about 5 calories per cup and only about 1 gram of sugar. And as a mom, I don't feel bad giving my kids diet cranberry juice either because they're still getting the flavor of it, but I'm not hopping them up on a ton of sugar. So these are just really simple switches that can be made. As long as you think about it beforehand, you could always take a bottle of this with you when you go to somebody else's house for an event. It's not rude, it's not imposing, you're just bringing something that's showing that you're prioritizing yourself. So very, very simple switches to make. Now another tip that's related to drinks but is a bit more specific to bariatric patients is to be very, very careful with your alcohol consumption, especially if you haven't had any since surgery. It hits so much harder. I cannot overstate how much of an impact alcohol has on you after gastric bypass surgery. I can only speak to the bypass. I'm not entirely sure if the same would hold true for sleeve patients. Their digestion is more intact than the gastric bypass RNY procedure, so I'm not really sure. If you've had the sleeve, please feel free, leave it down below what your experiences have been, but also do your own research on that before you imbibe. But for my RNY people, oh my goodness, be careful. It's to the point where I will not drink and I will not have a single drink and drive a vehicle afterwards because it just hits me so hard that it's not a risk that I'm willing to take. But I have found some alternatives that fit with my lifestyle. So first of all, the diet cranberry with a bit of vodka in it, perfect holiday drink. But Canadians in the crowd, particularly if you're in Ontario, Ace Hill has you covered. So I've got an entire array of my favorites from them right down here. So this is a brewery based in Toronto. Love what they're doing. Will say, I've tried their Pilsner, kind of tastes like the bottom of a boot. Not a big fan of that, but I'm also not a big fan of beer at all, except for the Ace Hill Radlers. So this is what the can looks like. I have just discovered these in the last couple of weeks, sold singly at Zayre's. They have them there. This is the Lemon Cayenne Radler. It's got 100 calories in the can. There are 0 grams of fat, 10 grams of sugar, 0 protein, of course, but there's only, I think this one's 2.5%. Where is the ABV? Yes, 2.5% alcohol by volume. So it's extremely light. It's got real fruit juice in it. The lemon cayenne, I don't even know how to describe the taste of this except that it's like a party in your mouth. It is so good. And you're mainly tasting the lemon with like a hint of beer underneath it. I don't like beer, as I said, do not like beer. I've tried other Radlers. This one and the lime Radler, fantastic, so good. And with 2.5%, I can drink one of these. It takes me a long time, honestly, because of the size of the can. It takes me a long time to get through one of these, but I'm not buzzing at the end of it. So very good option there. If you like just do not even want to go down the beer road, Ace Hill also has vodka drinks. So they have strawberry grapefruit. My favorite is the lemon. And then they also have a raspberry one, which is very good. All 3 of these are very good, but lemon's my favorite. All 3 of these are 4.5%, so they do have a little bit more of a punch to them than the Radler, but still at 4.5%, I find that I can tolerate it and it's not too bad. I do feel it towards the end of the can, but I'm not like rolling on the floor making a fool of myself. So I love that you're not getting a ton of sugar in these. 1 gram really is fairly negligible at the end of the day. A lot of these, like Mike's Hard, are going to have way more sugar in them. These are all excellent options. They retail for about $2.80 Canadian. They do not ship to the US, so I apologize to my American viewers or international viewers, but if you are in Ontario, I would highly suggest looking for them at Zayre's. I have found them, the vodka drinks I can find very regularly at the LCBO. That's our liquor store here in Ontario, but the Radlers are a little bit trickier to find. I've had my best luck at Zayre's grocery stores. So just wanted to share those with you. Now, when I think holidays, I also automatically think of holiday baking. It's something that I do enjoy mostly doing with my kids. It's kind of stressful sometimes and the mess is just next level, but I love making those memories with them. And so I don't want to give that up simply because I have undergone gastric bypass surgery. They shouldn't have to avoid cookies simply because that's the choice and the path that their mother has taken. So what I like to do is switch out things in the recipes to make them still very palatable, but make them as healthy as possible. And there are a lot of recipes that you can find out there talking about how to switch out the egg or switch out the sugar in different recipes just to make them as healthy as possible. But the tip that I want to talk about involves pancake mix. This one in specific is from Kodiak Cakes. This is the buttermilk pancake mix. They also have a funfetti one, which my kids love. But this one I like using instead of like flour and sugar in cookies. So it even comes with a recipe on the back of the box for chocolate chip cookies. So you're using 3/4 cup butter, 1 cup brown sugar, and I use the Splenda brown sugar for that because not only is it less actual sugar, but it doesn't harden the way regular brown sugar does. So I can actually like keep a bag open and it's not going to become this like brick-like substance. So that's it. 3/4 cup butter, 1 cup brown sugar, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1.5 cups of the protein, 1 cup of oats, 3/4 cups chocolate chips. That's it. So these are the kind of things that when you make these cookies, I feel good giving them to my kids and giving them to myself. They taste fantastic. You're not missing any of the sugar that's in there. There is still a bit of a sweetness there with the Splenda brown sugar, but it's not like cloying or over the top. And you're also getting protein in it. So it's a like healthier version that still tastes like a treat, but I know that I'm not derailing my efforts with my own health. So just wanted to share that tip with you. So let's talk some very, very basic tips. And again, this is nothing revolutionary to you, but hopefully it can just drive the point home that as a former obese woman who used to turn her nose up at these kind of tips, they actually do work when you put your mind to it. So first of all, using a small plate. That should come as no surprise. That's something that people suggest all the time, but it truly does work. These are the plates that I use for basically everything. We have the exact same plates in a larger size, and that's what Barry uses, but these are perfect for me and for the kids, frankly. It's in some material, I don't know what it's made of. It's not quite plastic, but nor is it like, it's not gonna shatter. I'm not sure what it is, but it's microwave safe, it's dishwasher safe, and again, if one of the kids drops it, it's not gonna shatter. So I like these. I got them off Amazon. If I can find them again, I'll link them below so you can take a look. But find it's the perfect size for me. And I underwent gastric bypass surgery. That's an abdominal surgery. I didn't have eye surgery, and my eyes are definitely bigger than my stomach. I mean, not literally, but you get what I'm saying. If I have a big plate, I am going to put more food than I need on that plate. When I have a smaller plate, it forces the issue. And then I really have to think about, am I going to go back for seconds? And like 9.5 times out of 10, I don't. I'm more than satisfied. And in fact, there's usually some food left over on this plate. That's another thing. Don't be afraid of leftovers. That whole like spiel that they taught us when we were kids of like, there's children starving in other areas. You finishing your plate and eating beyond what your body needs is not going to address that situation. So don't fall victim to that. Also, there's no such thing as the clean plate club. I was forced into that damn club every time I ate when I was a kid. Never got a ribbon from it. So throw that one out the window as well. At any rate, this is the kind of tip that I would turn my nose up before I had surgery, thinking like, that's just ridiculous. I'm just going to keep going and loading my plate and loading my plate. But it is psychological. It is a bit of a mind trip. If I put food on this plate, take that exact same food, transfer it over onto one of the larger plates, I instantly want to add more to it because it just looks like a plate with a little dollop of food on it. Whereas when it's housed on something like this, it looks like food with a little bit of plate around it, if that makes sense. So it also just forces that mindfulness aspect. So when I have finished my meal and I'm thinking, do I want more? There is time built in to consider whether I want more. Just in the very nature of having to get up, take it into the kitchen and put more food on, there's time built into that for me to really assess whether I'm hungry or whether I just want to eat, because there is very obviously a difference. And if you're going to somebody else's house and you feel a little bit weird about bringing a smaller plate with you, first of all, you shouldn't, because it's just your health that you're taking care of. And if anybody wants to say anything, they're the asshole in the situation, not you. But if you just want to avoid that entire awkwardness, you can always volunteer to bring like paper plates, and then you can bring larger plates and smaller plates. Then you already have access to the smaller plates there. So that's just one way to get around that potential hiccup. Now, another tip is to just get everybody on board with you and just go for a family walk. You know you're going to be eating holiday foods. You know you're probably going to be eating a little bit more than you would be in normal circumstances, and that's okay. Just amp up your exercise, and it doesn't have to be solitary. You can bundle the kids up, grab the husband, grab the dog, head out the door and just enjoy the Christmas lights, enjoy the time together, and create a new tradition that doesn't involve food. And finally, my last suggestion is to just be very gentle with yourself, forgive yourself, and just move on. Don't spend your holidays obsessing over food that you want to eat, that you shouldn't eat, or that you have eaten. Just let it come. Be mindful, plan ahead as best as you can, but if you do overindulge, you've overindulged. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't have to completely derail you. I mean, really, if you think about it, there's 365 days in the year, and how many holiday parties are you really going to attend? I mean, for myself, I'm looking at about 3, maybe 4. Some people might do, 10. God, I'm glad that's not me, but maybe you are. Even if you are, 10 is still only a third of the month, and it's way less than that over the course of the year. So although it's sort of packed into one compressed time period, it's not going to derail your entire year, and it's not going to cause that much of a difference for you. So please be gentle with yourself. It's a gift that you can give to yourself, and it really is a gift that keeps on giving. So that is it. I am so glad to have finally been able to finish this because I was just driving myself crazy. So sometimes you just got to dial it back, take it down to basics, and go from there. That applies to filming videos as much as it does to surviving holidays. So with all of that said, I'm going to wrap the video up here. I do wish you a very happy holiday season, a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate, and I will see you in my next video. I'm going to have to work on an outro for this channel because I'm just so programmed to my outro for my other channel that I'm tempted to drag it in over here. I'm going to have to put my mind to it, but in the meantime, leave some suggestions down below for like a little send-off message because I'm stumped. All right, with that said, goodbye for now, and I'll see you in my next one.